Hello everyone, as with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP, and I gotta start with this. It's absolutely iconic that Brad Garlinghouse goes out of his way to keep his follower count at 589. Absolute legend. And you see, Brad is now following 589 people, and everything is right with the world once again within the XRP community. I'm telling you, whenever that number drops, people start to question what's going on. It's so iconic inside the XRP community. This comes from Alex Cobb. Currently, a 58% that Ripple makes a new announcement during XRP Community Day. Get your predictions in. Powered by XRP. So I would expect some big news to drop on XRP Community Day as well. We've seen that happen in the past. Ripple always seems to hold something back until one of these events show up. So I'm thinking by the time the event happens on February 11th, this will most likely be somewhere around 80 to 90%. But Ripple has nonstop growth now. It's like every single week we get more and more announcements of more expansion. And I don't see that coming to an end anytime soon. Ripple is nonstop adding more value and utility to XRP. And the other day I was talking about how states are going to create treasuries for crypto. Take a listen to this.
You signed two bills this year. So then, of course, you got the New York operations up there trying to allow state agencies to accept cryptocurrencies. So that would be something. Is this a growing thing at the state level? Can you share anything?
It's a movement. I think every state is sitting there and seeing there are benefits to digital assets, whether we issue municipal bonds backed by Bitcoin, like we saw in New Hampshire, or we issue licensing bills to provide clarity that the federal government is not providing right now to token issuers or to platforms. There is a growing interest at the state level to become hubs for digital asset companies. They are viewing this like it was the dot-com boom of the early 2000s, that every state in the country wanted to find a way to bring in talent that were helping develop and build the internet. We're seeing it now on the digital asset side. It is just the next wave, this Web3 wave. So I think this is just the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking next year and all 50 states have signed digital asset bills, especially as the federal government slow walks a lot of the regulatory progress that we want and that we are pushing for. We're seeing a lot from the agencies and the administration, but Congress is slow, as we just alluded to at the top of the conversation. I think every state's going to get involved. We just actually at the Digital Chamber launched the Digital State Network to be more active in the states. Our member companies that we represent are demanding it. They want to go into the state houses. They feel comfortable with what's going in Washington. They want to have conversation with governors, with state elected officials. And so we will be very active in all 50 states next.
So within the next year, he predicts all 50 states will have something going on with digital assets because the government at the federal level is dragging their feet. And I agree with that. I think the states are not going to wait on the federal government. But I got to remind you, who has money transmitter licenses in almost all 50 states? Ripple does. And I always said those money transmitter licenses are rails for XRP to run on in the future. But this would make sense. Think about digital treasuries at the state level. I think most of the states are going to see the value in something that creates on-demand liquidity as well. This comes from Mason vs. Lewis. XRP has a much better use case than Bitcoin. I just wish it had the same supply as Bitcoin. Some people just aren't seeing it yet. There's a chance that 100 billion XRP might not be enough XRP. At one point, it always seemed like 100 billion was way too much, and that was always going to keep the price of XRP at a low price point. But as time went on, we're starting to see XRP Treasuries, ETF inflows, and then we see retail also locking away a lot of XRP as well. And I think it's going to continue to happen. And at some point, XRP is going to reach scarcity. And when we get to that point, people are going to be like, wow, I should have been paying attention to XRP instead of looking at Bitcoin. This comes from West Wind. Whole lot of amendments going live in a few seconds. So you see all these new amendments that are going live on the XRP ledger. And most of these amendments are geared towards institutional adoption. These are not retail amendments. The XRP ledger was never really built for retail adoption. It was built for institutional and enterprise adoption. But retail can take advantage of some of these things as well. And just wait until you start seeing what these institutions are going to open up as far as passive income. I'm telling you, we will see risk-free passive income most likely within the next 12 months. It all comes down to regulations and adoption. And Ripple billionaire Chris Larsen enjoying his $3 million Lamborghini. For him, that's like us dropping $20 on coffee. And people here are getting angry. He is worth billions. Meanwhile, your average crypto bro millionaire is shelling out 1.5 to 3 times their entire net worth on a Lambo. Chris Larsen buying a Lambo is a lot different than a retail investor buying a Lambo. I could tell you that right now. That's like pocket change to him. And that's why I always said retail has to have a game plan. If you want to get to these numbers, you have to have a game plan. And you can't be in such a hurry to sell your bag for useless US dollars. I'm telling you now, people are going to regret cashing out their entire bag in this cycle, because this cycle is nothing compared to what's coming. I don't even look at it as a cycle anymore. I'm watching the puzzle pieces get put in place for the rise of the new financial system. But when a billionaire buys a Lambo, it's not that big of a deal. But of course, people in the crypto space are pissed off. And maybe Chris Larsen will tokenize that Lambo on the XRP ledger. And then people could buy some of the tokens associated with that Lambo. So they would own a piece of it. But I doubt Chris is going to tokenize his Lambo. Ripple Banking nears license. Ripple National Trust Bank. One thing I want to point out here is this. That bank license does not allow Ripple to have checking or savings accounts. So you're not going to see people moving their money from their current bank to the Bank of Ripple. What it does, though, is it allows Ripple to get tied in with the federal system. It allows Ripple to become a bank, be recognized as a bank. But as time goes on, I think this is going to evolve into something a lot bigger. Ripple is going to emerge as a central bank at some point. I think that was always the game plan that Brad put in place a long time ago. They told you XRP and HBAR were dead narratives. Now Canary Capital is telling investors these are the financial rails to watch in 2026. So they're laying out what you should be paying attention to in 2026. So you see financial infrastructure, XRP Ledger emerging as dominant financial services rails. Hedera, leading enterprise infrastructure. Then you see privacy assets like Litecoin, Monero, Canton, tokenized platforms, ETH, Sol. I think that's going to change. I think we're going to see the XRP ledger emerge as a massive tokenization platform. We're just not quite there yet. Stablecoin growth, RLUSD is mentioned there as well. But everything going forward is gonna be about tokenization. That's the next massive thing to happen in this space. That's going to onboard trillions upon trillions of dollars of real world assets onto these networks. And as it's happening, you're going to start to see the prices of these cryptocurrencies change like an overnight event. Because look at what Archax wants to do. 30 to 50 trillion on the XRP ledger. We know a lot's going on with BlackRock as well. They want to tokenize everything. And BlackRock is most likely working with Ripple in the background. I could almost guarantee that. They are both aligned with the same people. The World Bank, the ECB, the IMF, the World Economic Forum. You know, when you see that, that tells you the future. That tells you what you're holding is not going to be cheap in the future. XRP under 500 million in US dollars open interest. What does that mean? And you know, they always put out these articles that we're going to see this major decline in the price of XRP. It's all FUD to get you to sell. I'm telling you now, all it's going to take is gold and silver to start to drop down in price, and the rotation will happen. Right away, people are going to be chasing the next big thing, which is crypto. Once crypto starts popping off, you're going to see the money shift from gold and silver into this space, and it's going to happen quickly when it happens. Bernie, crypto needs you, bro. They're talking about Bernie Sanders, but you got to hear this clip. This is absolutely ridiculous. Take a listen.
People are using crypto to kill other people.
That's right.
I have to show you that.
The guy that was talking there to Bernie Sanders, Corey Frayer, was Gary Gensler's top deputy.
It's lies.
Lies.
It's lies.
Lies. It's they.
He was brainwashed.
What do I get on a stable coin?
You get no interest.
So explain that.
Why not activate Bernie Sanders? I think once he learns, wait a minute, the American people can get 4%. Why wouldn't I back that? Sanders is very powerful.
We are trying to activate Bernie Sanders, and we have given them cheat sheets. They are all talking points that resonate so perfectly well with the Democratic platform. Then I see videos like that, and I see people can be brainwashed. So we are trying to undo that brainwashing. It takes a lot more when you have to undo brainwashing than just to educate someone from the start. But we are going in and we're talking to Senator Sanders. And I think too often the crypto industry ignores them. We actually ran a poll in November of last year, and we looked at the political leanings of crypto holders. They lean left. They lean Democratic.
Okay.
But they vote Republican because they vote with their wallets. They are single issue voters. Right now, the people who the Democrats are listening to, as we just watched in that Bernie Sanders video showed a few minutes ago, are these historical Democratic consumer think tanks and protection associations. We need them to open up their doors and show them the truth of why blockchain technology makes sense for the Democratic platform.
I thought that was great. So people are using crypto to kill people now. And how can you be that ridiculous? But what they want to do is they just want to crush crypto any way they can. And somebody is paying that guy to say that. I don't know if he's fully brainwashed or if somebody's paying him to push that narrative. But I would think that Bernie Sanders, if he knew that people could collect yield by holding a stable coin, he'd be all over the mainstream media news tomorrow advocating for that. He would want that for the American people. I think a lot of other politicians would jump on board with that as well if they really understood what that meant for the working class in this country. Because you earn $400 5% yield, all of a sudden that starts to offset some of the inflation that people are facing on a daily basis, like groceries that really, they're not coming down. I mean, gas, sure, it dropped a little bit, but groceries, there's no change there. And everybody has to eat. So everybody's going to pay the price for groceries, no matter what it is. Here's how much XRP Ripple execs have dumped so far. I love when they put out these articles, and you know this article most likely came out because Chris Larson just bought a Lambo. But what they don't tell you in this article is, first of all, only 1 billion tokens gets released every single month. And we all know what happens after that. They lock back in 700 or 800 million. They also don't tell you the acquisitions that Ripple has made that brings more utility and use case for XRP. They only want you to believe that Ripple just keeps dumping tokens on retail. But here's the thing. They could only sell so much. Ripple always wanted to make sure that they were always holding 25% of the total supply. So that's 25 billion tokens that will always remain in custody of Ripple. And they're going to continue to use that to make more acquisitions, expand the company. If something new was to come out tomorrow, the next big thing, which we all know that's going to happen, Ripple would jump right on in on that. They'd want to make sure that they were the first ones to push in that direction. It's the same thing you saw with custody, with tokenization, with AI, everything. Ripple wants to be the first mover when something new begins. And that's why I always said, I don't care if Ripple's holding X amount of XRP into the future, because it's only going to add value to XRP anyway. And until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.